Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Educational Gamer and we are playing Strategic Command, playing as the Allies in World War II. So, we've just finished Operation Torch, or just started Operation Torch I should say, so let's connect our lines over here, just to make it a little bit easier for us. Well, I guess you could move over here, you could also just load up in Casablanca, I guess. Well, let's move up. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Anyway, over here we are trying to capture Algiers, but things are not immediately easy for us over here. So we do have some tactical bombers. I think we could upgrade you to better long-range capabilities, but let's start out with some bombings of these troops over here in Algiers to make it a little bit more likely that we can successfully attack them in the midterm. Okay, so these tactical bombers, we are going to move them up a little. We don't seem to be able to do too much against this corps that is stuck in Algiers, I almost want to say. So we could land more troops. Yeah, we have very low supply. I think that's because the supply is flowing in from over here, but not necessarily successfully so. So okay, let's strike Algiers. Doesn't give us any benefit. We can set the mode for these paratroopers to prepare. Actually, we should probably be in better supplied areas, of which there are very few or none. Okay, let's move you up a little. These fighters can move up. We can move back these fighters, I guess, and then let's see what we got over here. So we got an army. And where do we want you to be? Well, I don't really want to get over there, but seems like we have to do that. And again, it's a little bit unfortunate that we can't really see what is in these transports. It just says first American transport. Okay, so the port apparently can only unload one person per turn. Well, that's too bad. So our destroyers over here should probably screen for any German/Italian submarines. No one inside. No one in La Spezia. There is someone in Rome. We could attack, but it's not really helpful though, so let's not. Trying to find the Italian submarine as well. Aha, it's in Chiari. So can you at least box you in over there so that you can't really leave that harbour? That would be pretty good. Can't seem to do that though. So yeah, let's simply bring up our forces. We can, I guess. Why can't you actually attack? You're a long-range transport, you should be able to attack. Okay, let's bring you over here. Want to land on the other side. Do we want to do some damage, or do we want to capture this town so that we have maybe a little bit better supply? Don't think the town itself would give us supply, so let's simply attack these troops in Algiers. Bring you up. Attack again. Nearly. I mean, we're nearly done. Oh, and you could attack again because we have developed the tank thing, so yeah, let's do that. Unsuccessfully though. Can we attack from over here? Is that a difference? Oh, it doesn't seem to be. This is, I think, the headquarter. So we should make really sure that we're not losing that. The Desert Anti-Tank Group from the UK can, well, I guess move up all the way to the UK actually. If we move out the submarines. Which of course we can, so let's move them up over here. And then these transport desert group, bring them into a harbour over here. And onto that. So that's nice to see. Right. And since we can't move you really out, yeah, let's at least shield you. And that should be fine. Quite a couple of transports over here in the North Atlantic region, so let's make sure that these marine divisions and the 1st Mexican Corps over here is going to come over and cross the Atlantic, so that should be very fine. Not that much more that we have on the Atlantic side. Well, maybe except for these AA brigades. So yeah, that we definitely want to put on transport towards down here. That should be fine. Good. Let's look on the other part of the North African front. So we have cornered these guys in Sirte, which is a town. Well, let's firstly get rid of the Africa Corps over here. Can anyone else do that though? You could, still. That's very nice. So we do have some tactical bombers. Ooh, you'd be surprisingly bad at this. I would like to reinforce these tanks before I move up too far. So I think actually the tanks need to withdraw. So let's detach these tanks. Bring them back over here. Bring up the special forces. Why would you be so bad at attacking a field artillery corps? Don't quite understand that. The tanks, we could cut them off. Wouldn't do as much good, I think. There is no rail connection or anything, so it's not like they have that. They are entrenched. Okay, let's try to attack them over there. Dealing some damage to the Germans over here, so that's good to see. And let's get you on the town so that at least you can recover a little bit. And then we can finally reinforce these air forces, which should be fine, I think. So, right, the headquarter can move up so that you start to cover some of these other areas, and that should be fine. And you want the 12th Corps, we are going to send on transport towards home. Oh, it's interesting that you'd be stuck here. Yeah, let's bring you over there. I don't think the Italian submarine should be capable of doing too much against us. We can certainly bring up a lot of destroyers over here just to box them in, and that should prevent them from being too sneaky on us. Good. We do have also the carrier. Oh, I should not forget about that. And these heavy cruisers. There's a 20% chance of dealing some damage over here, so let's do that. Likewise with battleships. Just dealt some damage to the town, but not on anything else, so that is unfortunate. But yeah, you know what, let's try with the carrier. At the very least, we might be increasing its combat capabilities and experience. Just a tiny bit, but better than nothing. Right, over here, you are in actually pretty decent supply, so we could attack, but that's no point. Ooh! I definitely do want to attack the German headquarters here, though. That is a very important target for us. Rommel. Very experienced, very high-ranking leader. Good. Okay, that does settle it for all of these guys, though. There is a carrier over here, which desperately needs to be reinforced. There's a destroyer over here. Can we move you up all the way over here? We can, so let's do that. So now the submarine is truly boxed in. That doesn't really stop it from passing through that, but I wonder why can't you go further. Anyway, let's bring the French up a little bit. They should ultimately participate in the attack on France, of course, because that's just the way it needs to be. Good. Other than that, though, in Africa I don't think there's much else for us to do. There's a question about this medium bomber fleet over here. Do we want to... Okay, so I think it makes sense to firstly operate you, spend some money, bring you over towards Africa, and then you'll be able to conduct some bombing strikes next turn already. Ooh, Bermuda is unfortified. Yeah, but it's not crucial yet. Let's not pretend it is. Good. Let's look at the situation around Guadalcanal, where our marines are trying to take the port before we all run out of steam. So yeah, the Australians can attack first, followed by the Americans. dealing some damage towards them. Let's bring in the battleship just to blockade that harbour, which is, I think, very important. And then the next question is, where are the submarines? There is one. That's very nice to see. What's not so nice to see is that it's dealing massive damage on us. So, yeah, let's make sure that we are bombing that with our carriers. Because these are the best anti-submarine ships that we do have around over here. Even though if it's not apparent that we should be doing too much to them. And we lost the view on it, but there it is. So what else can we bring in to do some strikes on the submarine? Could try with the other submarine. Could try with the capital ship. Don't think there's any other ship though in the even broad vicinity. Well, we have this submarine up here, so let's bring you over here. And then I can't attack you with this submarine? Okay. Fine, I guess. Strongly damaged light cruiser. Okay, battle cruisers really aren't built for this. This is so frustrating. Okay, let's try to scout out over here whether the carrier is still there. It is. It's good to see at least that it is there. It's not very strong. It only has an air group of 6, and that's the Suekaku. Okay. We do see these destroyers down here, which I don't think they are in base. And that means we can bring in our battleships and attack them. Unless, of course, we can't. Why? Oh, well, maybe we can from here. Weird. Did look like you might be able to attack from over there. Well, let's try. Don't think it will do too much damage. Yeah, it's mostly on the port, not on anything else. Ah, but we do have our carriers over here. So, what's the most important target for us then? Well, I actually think this is more important, but the destroyer really is annoying. Okay, let's send the Lexington over here. And the Lexington is going to try to sink that. Very successfully so that's nice to see. Can't do that much else with the Lexington, but we can bring it down here and at least conduct a strike on these special forces. Oh, actually more successful than we anticipated, so that's nice to see. And then what we can do is bring down our carriers over here. And apparently very much suck at even the wall biz. Why are you so bad at this? Is that mode? You're naval tactical? You are naval tactical. Why can I not strike at all now? That's weird. Well, let's finish up there. We can attack these bombers. Our marines up here. I would actually like to take the Gilberts, but your supply is running so low that I think it actually makes sense to simply run you up over there. Another battleship down here. Just building up some experience. And these marines need to be reinforced before they move out again. They also need to be upgraded, but for now that's alright. Yeah, this is a little bit unexpected over there. Heavy cruiser. This battleship can't move. These guys can move though, so I'm actually going to ask you to be set to mode to hunt. Yeah, that's fine. And we're going to bring you onto these Japanese supply lines. And that should be okay. And then I guess Can simply use these battleships to blockade some ports. Let's actually check out over here. So this isn't even occupied. The Mariana Islands. That's good to see. Stop the supply going to Guam. Why have you no strikes left? This is so weird. I don't understand. Good. Well, so good. Can't do much about this submarine, which is really pesky. There's the second one. Strike the harbour itself. Don't think there's too much point in that. Could bring in more forces to beat down on these special forces. Yeah, let's simply get the Australians ready over there. And this calls well. Well, I mean, you could get ready already. Fiji? I think we can ignore Fiji for now. Would like to get the Bismarck Archipelago though, so long range amphibio. Let's keep you where you are for now. I don't want the Japanese to be too sneaky. So, speaking of which, let's look down here. So, firstly capture these oil reserves, which do give some benefit. Also, we can now attack these headquarter units, which I think is fantastic. Can reinforce you, just by 2 points, but I think that's enough. Strike the special forces. Should reduce their morale by quite a bit, and their readiness. We can attack, would still lose, so don't think that's worthwhile. So let's see how it looks on this part of the front. Not too great, but maybe if we bring in the battleship. Secondary supply, yeah, so it should really make a difference whether we are striking on this part of the front. So yeah, I think I'm happy with this. You're good, you're covering that area. We do have this naval bomber, which doesn't seem to be capable of doing too much, I think. Could strike the headquarters, but there's no point really doing this. So let's reinforce these fighters. Do we need to reinforce them? I think we need to move them. What's a stronger base, actually? These fighters up here need to be reinforced to long-range aircraft, so that they can cover a larger area. And that does bring us to the Far East itself. First strike. And I always forget to use the bombers. Use the bombers. This you should not be entrenched at all. Your morale is really low. Your readiness is really low. But we still weren't able to break you. So that does leave the situation up over here. We've got these Malayan forces, we've got the Indian forces. I think the Malayan forces really need to be, well, pull you back, pull you up. You can't make it all the way over there. These special forces are where they are. Let's move up our army over here. You would be able to strike over there. And you'd even be able to strike these special forces, so enemy contact. Oh, let's strike the headquarters. That is a very important target. And if we can even damage that, that'd be great. Can't seem to be doing that though. Okay, these fighters need to be brought up. Headquarters. You know what? You are all fine where you are. Are you entrenched? You are. Okay, let's strike you. Not the best decision. Right. How much damage can medium bombers do to tactical bombers? I wonder. Yeah, but still the headquarters is the most important target for us, because as soon as they are losing that, they'll be losing a lot of supply. and that will be a very important factor for us. You know what? You are not even upgraded. You're an Indian trooper. Yeah, it would be very difficult to dislodge these guys down there. Other than that, we do have a couple of Indian troops moving about. So maybe up all the way over there. Does reduce your supply, but if you're ending your turn in a field like that, I think we'll be fine. You can even go there. Okay, these are the Indian paratroopers. Good. We do have a couple of other Indian divisions, fighters and all that. Let's start out with the... Nope, we can't transport anyone. Okay, we can come up with these Indians over here and land them somewhere. That would increase the capabilities that we do have to push. Ah, there we go. Very nice. Rangoon will be able to capture it next turn, and I think we'll actually do that with the Indian troops, because the Indian troops, well, China doesn't really have the capabilities to support us in our war too much. So yeah, I think I'll be happy about this. And then this destroyer, your supply is really high, so I guess what we should do then is just bring you up towards the southeast there, because there is a submarine that we know of, and that is disturbing our operations. And then these Chinese troops can be pushed up even further. And push up these tactical bombers just slightly. Yeah. So yeah, the Indians will take the point in this attack, and that should be lovely. Good. So we dealt with the Americans and Chinese positions down here. I still don't get why we can't attack over there. Oh, we do have another heavy cruise over here. Let's check out Brunei. Okay, there's a core over there. And then I'm going to ask you to set convoy mode, radar, and just position yourself, let's say over there. Should be capturing a fair number of supply lines. All your supply is good, and that's fine. Naval units do tend to be very good on supply, so it's not typically too much of an issue. And that does leave us with these forces, and I'm going to operate these fighters out of there towards England, so that we have some more capability over here. And that I do think is fine. We do also have a couple of new units. We have these 1st Marine tanks and 1st Marine medium bombers, both of which I'm going to place on the east coast, let's say in Norfolk, and let's say in Boston. You'll be operated over and put into transport next term, I think, and that's going to be alright. So how is the R&D looking for the US, I wonder? We did manage to discover a little bit. I think that was the long-range aircraft, yes, and the armored warfare. So that's finished. We don't need to deal with that. We have invested quite a bit in most of these categories. I don't think we'll ever deploy heavy anti-tank weapons. I don't think heavy bombers are something that we are going to use. Advanced subs, I'm not convinced that we need that. Anti-submarine warfare by now feels pretty redundant. AA defenses, I think it's fine to go up to level 1, because that's what the Germans have, and I don't even want to give them an advantage over there. So that actually only leaves an investment in these categories. We don't need to invest too much over here, but I think it's worthwhile to do so, especially on production technology. But likewise, maybe on logistics, because we need to ferry everything over that we have. So that's gonna be alright. 125 points, that's actually enough to invest a little bit in command and control, and that's what we're gonna do, because the US is fairly rich in this game, and that I think is a very good approach for them. So let's see what else we can purchase as the US. I think we still need more tactical and medium bombers. Let's go for tactical bombers. The 22nd over here. Going to deploy long-range aircraft. I don't think we need naval weaponry. So this is going to be fine and dandy. That does leave us with 310 points. So we can purchase even a little bit more as the US. More tactical bombers. Well, they wouldn't be long range. We could certainly upgrade them at a later point. So I think that might actually be a very good choice over here. On the other hand, a headquarter unit might be nice. Can't afford that though, so let's go for tactical bombers. And that's fine. Good. Right, for the UK, I think we do have quite a couple of points left over here. I'm not sure we researched anything. Ooh, but we do need to deal with Norway as well. Nearly forgot about that. That would be bad. Okay, so firstly, let's capture this mine. It's a really important mine, 10 MMP. Let's advance on Lillehammer. There's no one in Lillehammer. That's extremely good to see, because now we are connected over here. And that does mean that at some point we'll be able to get some supply in. And that's going to be very, very lovely indeed. No, I don't want to fly you. I simply want to advance with you. Let's look at the supply situation now. It's pretty bad. How it's going to be next turn? Still going to be not too great, but at least a little better. Right. All in all, a pretty good situation up here. We can move our carriers and destroyers up a little bit. These battleships should potentially guard over Kristersand over here. Light cruisers, all of your supply is good. Yes, no, actually not these heavy cruisers. You need to be recovering a little bit. And the submarines potentially as well. Let's put you into scupper flow. That's fine though. And then some of these destroyers really, I guess, we will try to get these guys towards the Mediterranean, where we know that there's still a bit of an issue with the amount of submarines from the Axis. These 2 submarine squadrons that are there, so yeah, I think that's fine if we get 3 destroyer squadrons down there. These guys are watching over the port supply, and they're doing that fairly well, I think, so that battleship of course needs to be reinforced. And this carrier right now, we can't do anything about that. That's fine, your supply is fine, your supply is fine. Your supply is so-so. We could actually exchange you over here, so let's bring in the light cruisers towards Oslo. And these guys can get into a base. And that should be fine. Good. Although, speaking of, do we want to maybe transport you? Yes. Okay. Let's transport this headquarter. Let's bring it up towards our operations in Norway and make sure that we have something covered over here. And I think that should be good. And your mode is going to be order. I think that's fine. We do have 5 troops over there. So yeah, that does about cover it. Supply of these carriers looks fairly fine. I think it makes sense to bring it down here and just think about launching attacks on some of these German garrisons. Okay, let's attack the German garrison. Not doing any damage over there, but we are reducing their readiness, their morale, their entrenchment. No, apparently we are not even reducing their entrenchment, but still. Good. That does about cover it in the UK. We could do some upgrades, but I'm not convinced that these are the most important things for us to do. I think very soon we do want to clear out some of these coastal guns so that we can embark on an invasion of the continent a little bit easier. But for now everything seems to be fine over there. Yeah, so we still have some points as the UK. Let's look at the research situation. Nothing that we did research just recently. Some things that are very valuable though, like industrial technology, like production technology, amphibious warfare, we are already investing in that, and infantry and armored warfare. These are very slow to get going, I have to say. We also have to think about advanced tanks, but we are developing that as much as possible already. So I think the only real thing that we could be doing is advanced fighters, so that we can make sure that we are getting that a little bit more quickly. Artillery weapons we have, ground attack weapons might be nice. I mean, the US has a couple of levels in that, right? Yeah, so let's invest in ground attack weapons that will allow us to pull up ahead a little bit. And then we should lastly, for this turn, be looking at research. So, diplomacy. The Soviet Union is certainly not going to do anything, but nationalist China could do something, and I'm hoping that we can influence Sweden over here. Sweden is currently leaning towards the Axis. I do want to pull them a little bit away from that, so that they are not supplying the resources to the Axis as such. No possibility to invest for the US, so that's fine. And I think all in all that is a very good situation over here. Maybe we can do some research as the Indians actually, and increase the industrial technology a little bit faster, and that should be fine. Armored warfare, aerial warfare, advanced tanks, all of these would be nice, but for now they're not crucial. So that being said, I think that settles the turn for the Allies. So thank you very much for watching, and next time we'll be looking at the Eastern Front again, see what the Germans are going to do in, by then, mid of December, and see whether the whole thing will freeze over, whether we'll be able to do some counterattacks by the Soviets. We are going to have to see. Until now, thank you very much for watching, and see you guys next time. Bye bye.